Pop quiz. What's one of the worst things you can do when making a racing video game? See if you can figure it out from the footage before I bring it up. 2003 marked a bit of a turning point for Need for Speed. Underground brought the underground street racing theme to the masses, riding off the hype of the first Fast and the Furious movie the year before, and it did pretty damn well. Now, Midnight Club 1 and 2 were already out and did well themselves, but Need for Speed name really carried things. Underground 2 came out the next year, and began the times when EA would rapid fire out a new Need for Speed every single year. Underground Rivals, then, is kind of a mix of Underground 1 and 2. Most of the content is based around the second game, but it doesn't have the open world from that. Instead you get 10 circuits, 3 drag strips, 4 drift circuits, and 4 cross circuits. Most of these come from Underground 1, though one race does seem to be from Hot Pursuit 2. Now that doesn't sound like a bad spread, but the courses all feel and look the same to the point where I can only tell which one I'm on when one of the shortcuts shows up. The game structure really doesn't help this. You're given a list of races and then you do them, 3 times each. Nothing seems to change between those 3 times as far as I can tell. You just have to do them because unlocking cars to buy is gated by how many of those events you have won. Making matters worse, you can't just do each event once and be satisfied, because the first time only gets you upgrade points, not any driver points. The second time you get a bit of both, and the final time you only get driver points. Driver points are what unlocks parts and customization. Upgrade points are what you use to buy them, and also cars. Hence you kinda need to do those second and third attempts to progress. The races then tend to exhibit similar problems that the original Underground in particular had. Notably the rubber banding that would make Mario Kart 64 blush. Sometimes one particular rival just decides you are not winning this race, and magically conjures a massive turbo. This seems to be at its worst in the 1v1 rally races where you swap cars after one lap. No matter how fast you pull into the change zone, the opponent always seems to relaunch before you do. These particular events are only 1v1 because the rest of the races have a max of 4 cars on the track. Apparently 4 is all they could fit into memory. I think the races themselves look alright. The city looks good for how early in the system's life it is, though it tends to be a bit too dark, which makes some areas like the Drainway look a lot rougher than they should. The cars are good enough looking, though some of the decals are pretty hard to make heads or toes of due to their reduced resolution. Performance doesn't seem too bad to start with, mostly hanging around in the upper 20s, but some sections, particularly at speed, will shunt down pretty badly. I've left a frame counter on for some of the footage for reference. This isn't helped by one of the most annoying things in the game. The moment you hit 185 km per hour, motion blur goes into overdrive and a sickening amount of screen shake kicks in. It is absolutely terrible, and while it's also a pretty bad thing to do while making a racing game, it's not the one that I mentioned at the start. I have to give the game's menus a special Go to Hell award also. While it's cute that you can flick through your garage and see all your cars next to each other, the insane load time between each screen makes the sheer act of picking a car for a race absolutely painful. And that's with me running this off flash storage, not a UMD like it was originally distributed on. These load times also rear their ugly head while decorating your car. While I'm here, I should mention that the upgrades are not per car. Once you buy an upgrade, all your cars have it. That doesn't sound so bad at first, but it really removes any attachment you build towards a given car, and because the prices for these upgrades are rather high and catered to compensate for that, it really just makes the game a slog. And now for what truly ruins the game. Everything in the game has about a half second of input lag. Steering, shifting, braking, accelerating, nitros, even the menus. It causes you to misfire in drag races, and it causes you to ping-pong between walls as you oversteer and then overcorrect. If you managed to guess that before now, congratulations. Most of the other problems the game has could probably be overlooked enough, and you'd still get some enjoyment out of it. But breaking a fundamental thing like how you control the car makes this game not even worth touching. If you want to play Underground, Underground 2 still works on modern PCs if you can find a copy. Hell, the GBA ports of Underground 1 and 2 are more playable than this. Thankfully the PSP isn't exactly going to be struggling for nighttime street races or Need for Speed games, but the first one being this broken is a real shame.